Welcome to the briefing of the University of Malaya Masters and Doctoral Degree Rules and Regulations 2019. What I'm going to present to you is a revised 2021 version of the rules and regulations for your attention and reference. We'll start with the minimum and maximum duration. The minimum duration for a full-time study for the mixed mode program is 3 or 4 semesters, and maximum is 8 or 9 semesters. For full-time coursework program, the minimum duration is 2 or 3 semesters, and maximum duration is 8 or 9 semesters. The doctoral degree minimum and maximum duration is 4 semesters and 12 semesters maximum for full-time study. The initial registration. A candidate of a master's or doctoral program by research may register initially for the said program at any time, latest by 14th lecture week in the semester applied, and the full fees will be imposed for the semester in which registration is done. The candidate is required to register in the following semester if the offer is accepted after 14th lecture week in a semester. A candidate of a degree program of study by mixed mode coursework and clinical shall initially register for his program of study before the commencement of the semester in which the candidate has been offered admission into the said program of study. In certain circumstances, the Dean of the faculty may allow a candidate to defer his initial registration to the following semester. The maximum duration of deferment of the initial registration allowed is 1 semester from the expiry of the original letter of offer. An additional extension of 1 semester may be given subject to the condition that the candidate applies and obtains the approval from the Dean of the faculty. If a candidate does not register within the stipulated period or any approved period of deferment, the offer of admission for the program of study shall lapse automatically. A candidate who is allowed to defer the initial registration shall not be considered a registered candidate and is not entitled to use any of the university's facilities. Now, a candidate for a program of study by mixed mode and coursework is required to attend the said program based on the structure of the program as determined by the faculty and approved by the Senate. Registration of courses other than those prescribed in the program structure will not be taken into account for the purpose of fulfillment of the degree requirements. A candidate is required to register for courses as determined by the faculty and shall be approved by the Senate. Registration of courses shall be completed before the semester starts. A candidate who fails to complete his course registration within the prescribed period will not be allowed to follow the course and may have his candidature terminated. A candidate is not allowed to add or drop courses after verification of registration is made. Any candidate who fails to register continuously for a period of 2 normal semesters and fail to complete his registration in a specific duration for the following normal semester shall cease to be a candidate and terminated from his study. Renewal of candidate. How is this done? Candidate of all modes of program of study shall renew his candidature before the commencement of the semester concerned. A candidate who does not register within the stipulated duration for the semester concerned will be recorded as not registered. Any candidate who fails to continuously register for a duration of 2 normal semesters and fail to register the following normal semester will cease to be a candidate and his studies will be terminated. What about attendance in program of study? Well, it is compulsory for a candidate to attend all teaching and learning activities as well as research activities related to his program of study. A candidate who does not attend any teaching and learning activities is required to inform the reason for his absence to the teacher immediately together with the relevant supporting documents. The teacher shall inform the candidate the consequences of being absent and is responsible to keep records of the notification and class attendance. A candidate may, with the approval of the faculty, undergo a part of the program of study at another institution. A candidate pursuing a program of study by research shall comply with the academic residential requirement, which is either physically or non-physically for a period of at least 1 semester. Notwithstanding anything stated in Sub-Regulation 4, a candidate pursuing a program of study by research with the approval of the faculty can be assumed to have met the academic residential requirement if he has fulfilled any one of the following: A. Followed and passed the research methodology course, or B. Presented the proposal defense, or C. Presented the candidature defense, or D. Presented in the thesis seminar before the final thesis submission for examination, or has face-to-face consultation with the supervisor as determined by the faculty, or participated in the activities of the faculty as determined by the faculty. Withdrawal from a course. The following provisions shall apply to withdraw from any course. A withdrawal from any course means withdrawal from one or more courses in any semester. A candidate is not allowed withdrawal from a course after the verification of registration is made. Change of status of study. A candidate is allowed to apply for a change of status of study from full-time to part-time or vice versa. The change shall be made not later than the last 6 semesters from the candidate's maximum duration of study and shall only be made once throughout the duration of study in the university. The duration of study is based on the existing remaining duration of study of the program concerned. If the candidate's application to change the status of study is approved, the determination of the balance duration of the study shall be decided by the Academic Administration and Services Center, known as the AASC. Notwithstanding the provision in Regulation 15, in certain circumstances the Deputy Vice-Chancellor concerned may make a decision otherwise. Candidate who has registered for an academic program offered as conventional or open and distant learning is allowed to apply for a change of method of study. Change of method of study from open and distant learning to conventional study or vice versa for the same academic program may be considered if the academic program is offered in both methods. Change of method of study for the academic program shall only be made once throughout the duration of study in the university. In any circumstances, the Deputy Vice-Chancellor concerned may make a decision otherwise. Submission for a master's degree. A candidate shall submit his dissertation or research report for examination within the period of his candidature. For this purpose, the candidate needs to complete at least a minimum duration of study for the master's degree program. Calculation of the minimum duration shall be continuous. The period that is taken for the examination of the dissertation and any period for correction or further work on the dissertation as may be required by the committee of examiners shall be counted as part of the maximum period of the candidate's candidature. A candidate shall submit his dissertation or research report for examination after the title has been approved within the stipulated duration. A candidate who fails to do so is required to renew the registration for the subsequent semester, except if an approval is given by the Dean of the Faculty to extend the submission deadline. If the Dean of the Faculty is the candidate's supervisor, the extension of the submission deadline is subject to the approval by the Deputy Vice-Chancellor concerned. Submission. A candidate shall inform the faculty about the submission of his thesis or dissertation for examination in accordance to the procedure prescribed, subject to approval of the thesis or dissertation title by the faculty. Monitoring of candidate is done by the supervisor, including the determination of title and appointment of external assessor. A candidate who does not fulfill the required minimum or maximum word limit shall apply with justification and obtain approval from the faculty at least 1 month before the date submission of his thesis or dissertation for examination. Note that the minimum word limit is determined by the faculty. A candidate shall not submit as a thesis or dissertation any work, including an idea, writing, data, or any creation of any other person or work that she already has submitted for a degree. However, he may incorporate any part of any such work into his thesis or dissertation, provided that the candidate has obtained permission or indicated clearly the original referral source of the work that has been incorporated. Any approved thesis or dissertation or part thereof that is subsequently published shall state clearly that it was submitted for the doctoral degree or master's degree of the university. Throughout his study, a candidate may, with the approval of his supervisor or the dean, publish papers of his work, provided due reference is made to the university in the publication. Submission of thesis or dissertation. A candidate shall submit his thesis or dissertation for examination within the period of his candidature. For this purpose, the candidate needs to complete at least a minimum duration of study for the doctoral degree program. Calculation of the minimum duration shall be continuous. The period that is taken for the examination of the thesis or dissertation and any period for corrections or further work on the thesis or dissertation, as may be required by the Committee of Examiners, shall be counted as part of the maximum duration of the candidate's candidature. A candidate shall inform the faculty about the submission of his thesis or dissertation for examination in accordance to the procedures prescribed, subject to approval of the thesis or dissertation title by the faculty. A candidate shall submit his thesis or dissertation for examination after the title has been approved within the stipulated duration. A candidate who fails to do so is required to renew the registration for the subsequent semester, except if an approval is given by the Dean of the Faculty to extend the submission deadline. If the Dean of the Faculty is the candidate's supervisor, the extension of the submission deadline is subject to the approval of the Deputy Vice-Chancellor concerned. Submission of thesis or dissertation. A candidate who has submitted his thesis for examination need not renew his candidature for the following semester unless the candidate has reached the final semester of the maximum candidature duration, or the Senate requires the candidate to conduct further work. A candidate is due to complete the maximum candidature duration shall submit an appeal to extend the maximum candidature duration to the Dean of the Faculty. Assessment method. As for a candidate of a program of study by research and by mixed mode, the supervisor shall complete the assessment of the candidate's progress report for the thesis or dissertation according to the work schedule and procedures prescribed by the university for the semester concerned. Assessment of program of study by research. The method of assessment shall be as follows. Method of assessment for a program of study by research shall be by examination of the thesis and a viva voce with respect to the thesis concerned. The thesis shall be examined, evaluated, and recommended by each examiner as to whether the candidate is given distinction. The committee of examiners shall, after considering the reports of the examiners, the candidate's thesis and viva voce examination, decide and recommend to the Senate whether the candidate concerned be given distinction thesis in accordance to conditions prescribed in Regulation 63. The corrections or re-examination of a thesis shall be as follows. A candidate who has been given distinction thesis and or recommended with a doctoral degree with distinction or without having to make corrections or amendments shall submit his thesis within 2 weeks. If the candidate fails to do so, he shall be deemed to have failed in the examination of his thesis unless in circumstances an extension of not more than 2 weeks to the period specified has been approved by the Dean of the faculty. Any appeal after this extended duration is subject to the approval of the Senate on the recommendation of the Committee of Examiners. Let us look at the assessment of program of study by coursework. Now, the assessment of examinations for the coursework component shall be based on the following grading scheme. Take a look at the grading scheme from high distinction, an A+ grade, to distinction, an A and A-, a pass, B+, and B, and a fail from a B-, a C+, C, C-, D+, D, and F. Academic dishonesty. Now, this is something that is of concern. These are the various academic dishonesty: plagiarism, the act of using someone else's ideas without citing the source; false excerpts, quoting sources which never have been used, or linking the word produced with reference materials which never referred to the source obtained. Then there's falsifying of information, which is fabricating or changing the data in order to create confusion; conspire to abate, copying the work of another candidate; cheating in exams, bringing or having access to books or any other materials; and contract cheating and disguising. This is work of the candidate which is completed by another person. So any candidate who is found committing an act which amounts to academic dishonesty can be subject to disciplinary actions by the university. Appeal against examination results. A candidate who is not satisfied with his examination results, including the continuous assessment component and or final examination of the course, may appeal for a renewal of his examination results. The appeal shall be made within 7 days from the official date of announcement of his examination results. Awarding of distinction theses. Candidates of a program of study by research and mixed mode are entitled to be awarded a distinction thesis if they fulfill the conditions below. The thesis is the first submission for examination, not exceeding the maximum duration of study, recommended excellent by one of the examiners in the examiner's report. The performance of the candidate during viva voce examination is excellent. The research output has been published or accepted for publication as prescribed for the requirement for graduation of the program and recommended by the Committee of Examiners. Supervision and progress report. The faculty shall appoint a supervisor for each candidate who is pursuing program of study by research and program of study by mixed mode research component. The faculty is also encouraged to appoint at least 2 supervisors for each candidate. A candidate is required to submit a research progress report between week 16 until week 18 of each semester before the registration of the following semester begins, based on prescribed procedure. The supervisor, co-supervisors, and consultant shall evaluate the candidate's research progress report in accordance with the prescribed procedures and complete the evaluation within 1 week from date of receipt. A candidate whose progress is satisfactory shall recommend to continue with his candidature. A candidate whose progress is not satisfactory for 2 consecutive semesters shall have his candidature terminated by the faculty. The director of AASC shall be informed of the candidature termination by the faculty. Field of research and title. The faculty shall approve the field of research for the thesis, dissertation, or research report before the candidate begins his research. In certain circumstances and subject to the approval by the faculty, a candidate may apply to change the field of research before submitting his thesis or dissertation or research report for examination. The faculty should ensure all the conditions and requirements for the new field of research have been fulfilled before the application is submitted. A candidate is only allowed to submit his or her thesis or dissertation or research report for examination after the title is approved by the faculty. The change of title is not allowed after the candidate has submitted his thesis or dissertation or research report for examination unless recommended by the Committee of Examiners, or known as the JKP, or the faculty. Language. What about the language of thesis or dissertation? Okay, this should be written in Malay or English or Arabic related to the candidate's field of research. In certain circumstances, the Senate may approve a language other than Malay, English, or Arabic for the thesis or dissertation concerned. A candidate shall submit an application to change the language of this thesis or dissertation to the faculty. A candidate is not allowed to change the language of the thesis or dissertation after the candidate has completed the candidature defense session. A non-citizen candidate who wishes to change the language of the thesis or dissertation from Malay or Arabic or any other languages approved by the Senate to English, the candidate is subject to the English competency requirement as prescribed by the university. The candidate must submit an application together with the evidence that he has fulfilled the English competency requirement as prescribed by the university to the faculty for Senate's information. Change of language or thesis or dissertation is only allowed once throughout a candidate's program of study. So that's the end of the rules and regulations for the University of Malaya Master's and Doctoral Program 2019 with revisions in 2021. I thank you very much, and for further information, please do check out the rules and regulations as stated in the university's website.